And so let's go ahead and start to take a look at things here. I'm looking at the Bittrex chart. The last time I did an update on this, I did not use the Bittrex chart because um, I just use Binance by default for just about everything that I do. But there is, of course, there is a lot more history on Bittrex, really still only going back to February. So it looks like this was listed on Bittrex on about February 7th or so. Um, and so what I want to do, I want to create this chart from scratch. And first thing I want to focus on is support and resistance levels. So what I'm going to put right down here is I'm going to take this level right here that I can see, which does look like it was support and resistance. I can take that off of the lows on the days after it was listed, and then we have a good touchdown here where we pulled down on April 11th. We had another support here where we touched this. There was no follow through, and we eventually fell down. We went up. We found that as resistance. We came down, and then we pushed through it. So this has been, pretty strong support and resistance. The other area I'm going to pay attention to is the bottom of this wick down here. So this is the bottom of the wick down here. It was also support here. You could call this support, a good spring off of here, more support, and then we fell through, and then it was resistance, and I would count this as resistance on this level and this level as well. These are buyers that are looking to get out of trap trades, so they were able to get out of their positions, and then we had this area as resistance also, and then we pulled down, and then we found these two levels as resistance yet again. But also, even if the people that bought way back here were able to sell on this wick, it still is counted as resistance because, the way technical analysis works, in case you hadn't noticed, is everybody's kind of looking at the same thing. And if anybody is a support and resistance trader, like I don't call myself a support and resistance trader, but I do think that I pay a lot of attention and give a lot of merit to support and resistance zones. They're also going to be looking to get out in that area. Another area I'm going to be focusing on since we are currently trading under this is this level right here because, and I'll go ahead and zoom in since we have the historical zones in there, we had support here, we had support which broke here, and then it was resistance there, and then we had resistance twice here, reclaimed it as support after we broke through, and then we fell through as resistance here. All right, so this is the zone that we need to pay attention to right now. Now, question is, do you take any trades here? I actually do think NKN has the opportunity to move up, but we actually have a pretty decent trade set up here where we're looking at, gosh, this is such a low-priced asset. Buying at 302 and a stop loss at 250, that's about 15% loss, but even if we just go to this first level here, you're talking a 22% gain. Really, the risk-reward ratio is not significant enough for me to take. I would not be a buyer down here, just because we're still creating lower high after lower high after lower high after lower high. We haven't created any new highs yet. So, again, this is on a 12-hour scale. We haven't created any highs yet, any higher highs rather. We did just recently create a little bit of a higher low, which can be, which can be attractive. So if we take from this low over here, we create a little bit of a trend line about like this or so. Over time, your stop loss, you may be pulling that up a little bit more and a little bit more, basically invalidation below that trend line. But, I'm really not seeing anything that is worth trading as long as we are, below this trend line right here. I'm going to go ahead and pull this down a bit because I do think that this spike up here was probably just lack of order books, a lack of data in the order books here. Maybe you want to take this trade and pull it up to, maybe 475, which is a 55% gain. I don't know that I would take that trade one way or another. Even with the risk-reward ratio of 3.5, a loss of 16% of my position, probably not something that's really worth it to me. The chart still looks a bit like garbage. If I go to a daily time frame, Yeah, we do have the potential. We could come all the way up here to 621, and based on what I'm seeing here, it looks like it could happen very fast. Um, but if you were to buy and hold, probably you could get out, but you'd be probably looking at more losses. I would just be very careful about buying anything down here. Although I do think this does have the opportunity to move up higher over the next, I would say, week or two. It's not going to be a quick thing. Um, I'd just be very careful about buying here. I know I say that a lot. Just be very careful, but this is not a trade that I would be looking to take, even though it does have potential for moving up. Obviously, we do look like we are in a bit of an accumulation zone down here. It's still not enough for me um, to risk anything. So as far as accumulation goes, it does look like we are accumulating. We had a low, then we had a lower low, and we had a good spike up, but then we had a higher low on this pullback. But again, this trend line is what I would be looking for, this red trend line here. If we pull below that, I would definitely be looking to get out because a move further down would take us down to new lows. And it wouldn't surprise me for us to go below 300, below 200. It looks like 200 is the zone where it's currently being accumulated. There's an accumulation area right here, a good rejection wick on this, pulled back, good rejection, then it spiked up. So went from 200 to 700. Now let's put this into perspective. From 200 to 700, let's just take a look and price that properly. From 200 all the way up here to the top, that was 270% that it just did, right? Which is more skepticism for me to be in a trade like this, because chances are pretty good after it just did 270%, it's probably not going to do 270% again anytime soon. The money to be made was had, and likely this was probably due to the listing on Binance. Let's just take a real quick look here and see if I'm right. So October 14th, NKNBTC on Binance, could be wrong. October 14th, let's take a look. That was October 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. So you had your exchange pump right there. So that's another cause for concern, cause for us potentially moving back down. We can see it open on Binance at 150. So I would say that there is likelihood that we are going to continue to move down. The last time I did a video on this, I believe was on maybe the 20th, and I basically said, don't buy. Don't buy this here. And we went down. We went down quite a bit. Let's just say that it was about right here. I'm just kind of estimating, but we've gone down, say 40% from that point. So what I would be looking for on this, on this, at least on the Bittrex chart, I want to see us climb back above 500. I really want to see us move back above 500 before I would be looking to really take any trades, but I don't think it's going to happen on this, unfortunately. And I could be wrong, but I would rather be wrong about a trade and not taking a trade, be wrong about not taking a trade, then be wrong about taking a trade that could have a potential 15% drawdown or more on the trade setup that we currently see. Yeah, I do think it probably will go up a bit. It's just not a trade that I'm willing to take. And, not that I'm your financial advisor. I am not your financial advisor. I wouldn't be willing to take this trade right now. That's just my opinion. So I hope that helped. Probably not the type of video that if you were clicking on it, probably not the type of video that you would want to see. Because I'm not condoning taking any trades on this, even though, again, I do think it does go up a little bit. But it has equal potential moving down than it does going up, in my opinion. So, okay, all right. Well, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you all on the Discord. If you don't have an invite, feel free to pop a comment on there. I'll get you an invite code. It doesn't cost anything to join the server. We're just basically trying to keep out the trolls and the spam. And yeah, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And I will catch you all later.